Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for the future speakers, you have to really put your mouth next to the mic. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Cantor. I'm the chair of the Jewish Heritage Centre of Western Canada. Welcome. The Jewish Heritage Centre of Western Canada acknowledges that the province of Manitoba is located on the territories of Treaties 1 through 5 and on the ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We respect and honor the treaties and agreements that were made on these lands we share, and we remain committed to strengthening our relationships with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. The Jewish Heritage Centre serves to preserve and promote information on Jewish history and culture in Canada, and to develop awareness of the historical, moral, and ethical implications of the Holocaust and other human rights violations. Our mission is to serve as an advocate for anti-racism and education on the Holocaust and anti-Semitism. I now introduce or ask Belle Jarneski to come to the podium.
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to welcome you all here. We're so pleased to hold this event that usually takes place at the Asper Jewish Community Campus here at Westwood Collegiate, a school that has done such tremendous work in recognizing the importance of Holocaust education. Thank you especially to Kelly Hebert and his students, and congratulations to you, Kelly, on receiving the Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence. I'd like to recognize the presence of Mike Moroz, MLA for River Heights. So on this event at which we commemorate Kristallnacht, our own community continues to reel from the tragic events which began on October 7th in Israel. When we first planned the events of Holocaust Education Month, we never could have imagined that in our lifetime we would see more Jews killed in one day than on any day since the Holocaust. We've also seen an explosion of virulent anti-Semitism around the globe, and right here in Canada, I'm sure that you've heard that there have been shots fired at a Jewish school in Toronto and Molotov cocktails thrown at a synagogue in Montreal. And right here in Winnipeg, homes have been targeted for vandalism and worse, and also identified by the mezuzah on their door. It's really hard to believe that we're experiencing this in 2023. We want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with all families in mourning and those whose loved ones who've been kidnapped. And when we speak of never again is now. Our program tonight is dedicated to the commemoration of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, also known as Reichspogromnacht. From November 9th to 10th, 1938, 85 years ago, more than 1,000 synagogues, Jewish prayer rooms, and meeting places were burnt to the ground. Many Jewish homes and some 7,500 Jewish businesses were looted and vandalized. Recent scholarship suggests that hundreds of Jews were killed, especially if you take into account those who succumbed in their injuries in the days and weeks following the pogrom. Some 30,000 Jewish men were arrested. Most were sent to concentration camps. Police records of the period also document a high number of rapes and suicides in the aftermath of the violence. Nazi leaders falsely claimed that Kristallnacht was a spontaneous eruption of violence in the aftermath of the assassination of Ernst von Rath by Herschel Greenspun in Paris. but in fact, the violence was strategically planned by top Nazi officials. It is very important to keep in mind the passivity of German civilian population in response to the events of Kristallnacht. The Nazi regime took this as a signal, a green light, that the public was prepared to accept even more radical measures against the Jewish population, which of course culminated in the murder of approximately 6 million Jewish men, women, and children. The annual commemoration of Kristallnacht is a reminder that the fraying of civil society must be taken seriously and actively opposed. Kristallnacht was not just the night of broken glass. It was the night of broken lives and broken societies. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Gustavo Zentner, President of the Jewish Federation of Winnipeg.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Gustavo Zentner. I'm the president of the Jewish community, and just like you, I am broken inside. It is so almost impossible to believe that we're going through these daring times together, not just in Winnipeg, not just in Canada, and not just the Jewish people. Everyone around the world should be outraged from being part of what we're seeing today. 35, 36 days. And the reason we tie what's happening in Israel to today's program, as we gather as a community to commemorate Kristallnacht, is that the barbaric hatred against human life and the disregard for people's identities and the systematic approach at making that happen, that takes years in the planning. We need to recognize that, because that plan happened under somebody else's watch. Civic authorities and government, community leaders, educators, we all hold responsibility when something as atrocious as Kristallnacht, Shoah, Holocaust, or what happened in Israel when Hamas conducted a barbaric attack on civilian population. That happened under somebody else's watch. And that's what we are here to do, to appeal to you and through you to every community leader, every faith-based organization, your places of work. Let's be vigilant and let's not kid ourselves that when hate rhetoric goes unchecked, it's just not good enough to point at somebody else's fingers and responsibilities. It's part of what we need to do the moment we see it. And as a result, I want to once again highlight the work that Kelly Hebert has done in this community, in this collegiate, and with your students. And I want to once again, I know I'll introduce you in a second, but just for the record, the work you do is paramount, not just for the safety of the entire Jewish community, but for generations to come, for the entire humanity, because you have the responsibility as an educator to shape and challenge young people's minds to stand up for what is right, for human rights. Kelly, I want everybody to again recognize your leadership with a round of applause. Thank you. It is my honor to bring greetings today to today's communities-wide Kristallnacht program on behalf of the Jewish Federation of Winnipeg, our board of directors, our board of governors, and our staff. We are pleased to present the screening of Reckonings, which reveals the untold story of the intense negotiations between the Jewish and German leaders that led to the 1952 Luxembourg Agreement. A lot of work typically gets done behind the scenes, and today is no different. Let's acknowledge that there is always room for talk, for reasoning, and even those that are perceived to be people that hate humanity or the Jewish people, the Jewish nation, there's always a difficult task of having conversations and finding a way of moving us forward. We are proud we're proud supporters of the Holocaust Education Month programming, along with other community organizations, and I do absolutely once again highlight the work that the Jewish Heritage Center of Western Canada does under Mark and Belle's leadership. And many other community programs that have come together today. I feel fortunate that we gather today, the night of broken glass, Kristallnacht, so that we can together say, never again is today. The sad side of that phrase is that we're saying it all together in the wrong context. We're saying it while many people of Jewish identity, Israeli civilians, are still being held captive, and many families are broken forever. And that's the similarity to what happened on November 9th, 1938, when a Nazi organized pogrom resulted in the destruction of more than 7,000 Jewish businesses, more than 1,000 synagogues, the killing of 30,000 people, and then the foundation of, let's go for a bigger number, the 6 million that we outcry every day with our active memory. Anti-Semitism is rampant across Canada, and I ask all of you to take that message very serious, bring it home tonight at dinner time, tomorrow at work, and everywhere you go, so that we protect the entirety of our humanity, that we share our values, and that we do what's expected of every single one of us, regardless of our public leadership roles or a role simply at home. It is my pleasure now to more formally introduce Kelly Hebert, who is a high school history teacher at Westwood Collegiate. For the past 16 years, he's been leading programs based on his expertise in history of the Americas, Slavic studies, and cinema. I just had an opportunity to spend time with Kelly in this role with the Federation, and more specifically, 2 days of intense work with Belle and many others here today in Ottawa during the CIJA conference, Fighting Anti-Semitism. In 2021, Kelly Hebert was selected as a recipient of the Governor General's Award for Teaching Excellence in Canadian History through the documentation Truth Against Distortion. Once again, thank you for having us today. Thank you for making part of your day this very important commemoration. And of course, please welcome Kelly.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm just an educator. I'm just doing my job. That's how I look at it. You see the friendly young faces that have welcomed you in here. They're the ones that really need to be acknowledged today as well, because without them, this would not be able to happen. And they're carrying the torch. They're bearing witness for the Jewish community, for the survivors as well. And they take a lot of pride in that. So I just want to give a shout out to the Westwood Historical Society. And on behalf of myself and St. James Assiniboia School Division, and a great administrator who's hiding in the back corner, Mr. Kevin Duick, my principal, without their support, it'd be a lot more challenging to do this type of programming. So, everybody has a role to play, as Gustavo and Belle have mentioned. And we take that seriously here. And as a history teacher, it's very eerie and surreal to be teaching about Kristallnacht and to be seeing these events playing out in real time. And one thing that I take very seriously and personally, because I've had the opportunity to meet so many survivors, I see Betty here, they're like grandparents to me. Last time I addressed them, they were all sitting in the front 2 rows for the documentary. And that was a very special moment in my life, and I thought never would they have to relive these events that they have gone through. And so I take it personally when I see these things happening, and it's my job as an educator to stand up and not be silent when these events are happening. So okay, enough about me. I'd like to introduce Adina Lungen. I hope I said that correctly. All right, good. Adina is a social worker with Jewish Child and Family Service. She has been working with Holocaust survivors as part of the older adult service for over 20 years. So let's give a round of applause to Adina.
Thanks, Kelly. Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Good. I am delighted to see so many of you in attendance today, and I thank you all for your interest in this important topic. Jewish Child and Family Service is proud and honored to work with Holocaust survivors, and we are pleased to be a partner in today's Kristallnacht Commemoration program. Before we present today's film, which is called Reckonings, we are fortunate to have a video clip of Karen Halig of the Claims Conference, who will be providing some background and context to the evolution of this documentary and to the work of the Claims Conference in general. Karen happens to be one of the producers of Reckonings, and the film will start after her clip. So Karen Halig serves as the Assistant Executive Vice President of the Claims Conference and its General Counsel. Since 1999, she has participated in negotiations between the Claims Conference and the German government, the Austrian government, and negotiations on unpaid Holocaust-era insurance policies. She broke ground as the first ever female representative for the Claims Conference in negotiations. Understanding 70 years of compensation agreements from a personal, legal, and historical perspective inside the negotiating room and interacting with those who negotiated the Luxembourg agreements, Karen was uniquely positioned to help bring this important film to life. And now we will hear from Karen, and then we will go directly into Reckonings. Thank you.